Good day, I am Paul and me and my colleague will be presenting the tax guide for small business corporation. In the presentation, the following will be discussed: how to qualify as a small business corporation for tax purposes, the reduced tax rates for small business corporations, the benefits, the responsibility of a business owner who is a taxpayer. The following requirements need to be met in order for an entity to qualify as a small business corporation. First requirement: is your entity a closed corporation, private company, cooperative, or a personal liability company? The second requirement: are the holders of shares or members in your entity natural persons and they do not hold any shares or have any interest in the equity of another company. The third requirement: is the gross income of the entity less than 20 million. The fourth requirement: not more than 20% of your entity's income consists of investment income and also income from rendering personal services. If your entity does not meet the mentioned requirements, then it does not qualify to be registered as a small business corporation for tax purposes. When taxing the taxable income for small business corporation, a tax table is used instead of a company income tax rate of 28%. This is the tax table that is used. So this tax table that you see on the slide is specifically for financial years that are ending on any date between the 1st of April 2021 and the 31st of March 2022. So what you will do is that you take your taxable income and you see where does it apply on this tax table. So for example, if you have a taxable income of 50,000, that will apply on the first row, and which will mean that your 50,000 taxable income will be taxed at a rate of 0%.
My name is Pepo Pila. I'm doing my BCom honors in taxation at the University of Pretoria. I will be taking you through all the tax benefits of a small business corporation. Please move on to the next slide. Now, the first tax benefit of a small business corporation is that income that is received from small business funding entities such as the NYDA is not taxed. In order for a small business corporation to operate, such a business must invest in business assets. Now, SARS will allow a deduction or a wear and tear allowance on such business assets. For manufacturing assets, SARS will allow 100% of the cost as a deduction. For other assets that are not used in the process of manufacturing, SARS will allow a deduction of 50% of the cost in year 1, 30% in year 2, and lastly, 20% in the third year of the cost of the asset. Now, for example purposes, let's say Mr. Mabuza runs a business that manufactures aluminum gates in the township. Mr. Mabuza in the year 2021 bought an industrial cutting saw machine to produce the gates for 20,000 rands. He also bought a laptop for 10,000 rands. Now, SARS will allow 100% of the 20,000 of the manufacturing item as a deduction. For the laptop, SARS will allow only 50% of the 10,000, which is the 5,000, as a deduction in year 1, 30% of the cost in year 2, and lastly, 20% of the cost in year 3. Now, bear in mind that such assets can also be deducted according to the general binding rule that you may find in the Income Tax Act. SARS will also allow a deduction on business expenses for the year. Such expenses include internet expenses, telephone costs, insurance, etc.
As an owner of an entity that is a small business corporation, you are responsible for filing and making payments to SARS and this has to be made accurately and on time. This is regardless of whether you have a tax practitioner or someone else handling your tax matters. Tax payments can be made using e-filing or direct bank transfer. Payment must be made on time to avoid interest and penalties. SARS will no longer accept check payments after December 2020. Record keeping is very important. Good record keeping helps you explain to SARS what you declared on your income tax return in the event that SARS has questions regarding information declared on your return. Keeping supporting documents such as sales slip, invoices, receipts, bank deposit slips, and other documentations will help you manage your tax matters better and ensure that you remain tax compliant. To find out more about the Small Business Corporation, you can visit the SARS website or contact their call center. Thank you for listening to our presentation.